Welcome back to you all. So in the previous lectures we have seen our SRAM, their read and write operation, their designing and difference of 40 SRAM and 60 SRAM. Today we are going to start our discussion of DRAMs. DRAM stands for dynamic RAM, and throughout the lecture we'll got to know why it is known as dynamic RAM, what are its limitations, what are its advantages. Okay. So for understanding DRAMs, let's first quickly recall NMOS. So that's on your screen, and NMOS is a transistor. It is having three terminals: source, gate, and drain. If you have provided one at its gate terminal, then this will be turned on, and if it is turned on, then source will be connected to the drain, or you can say that it will be short circuited and source will be connected with drain, or in other words you can say that whatever potential you have applied at source, that will ultimately appear at drain, so that will pass that potential. This is why it is also known as pass transistor. Okay, if it is configured in this way, then it will be considered as pass transistor. So now let's make some changes, not changes, just I'm going to rotate this, and now I have to add a capacitor with this. Okay, the other end of this capacitor is to be connected with ground. So now in this DRAMs we will be storing the information in this capacitor, okay, in the form of electric charges. Okay, this is something very important, and rest of the things like word line and bit line will be there. So what is the purpose of word line? Word line is used to select, like with the help of word line we will be selecting this particular DRAM. Okay, this word line is connected with the address decoder, and whenever your address decoder will issue this particular address, then only this DRAM will be selected for read or write operation. Then here is your bit line also. The purpose of bit line is to facilitate the read and write operation. Now let's see how we will write our any information in our DRAM. Okay, so for write operation, the first thing is to enable, or your address decoder will select this particular DRAM. How it will do that? It will enable the word line of this DRAM. Okay, so this is how, let's say your address decoder has enabled this word line, and if this word line is enabled, then as I have told you, it is connected with the gate of this NMOS transistor. No? So this NMOS transistor, this will be turned on. Okay, if it is turned on, then there will be a connection between bit line and the capacitor. Now let's say you have to store one. Okay, so that one is provided at the bit line. If one is at bit line, then bit line is directly connected with the capacitor, then it will start charging. Okay, and it will start charging, and it will develop a potential across the capacitor. Okay, now let's say your address decoder has deselected this. Okay, I have written whatever I wanted to, and now address decoder will deselect this word line. So this word line has is deselected now, and if word line is deselected, the gate will be now earlier we were having one at the gate, but now we are not having, so the gate will be disabled. If gate will be disabled, then transistor will also be turned off. Okay, now as you can see, there is no connection between the bit line and the capacitor. See, now there is no connection between bit line and capacitor, so the charges whatever being stored in the capacitor, they will remain as it is, and hence we can say that we have stored one or logic 1 inside the capacitor. Okay, this is how we perform write operation in the DRAM. So but there is an important thing, like these capacitors, there will be a leakage problem, and whatever charge we have stored in the capacitor, that will leak out gradually. Okay, so in order to retain the content of this memory cell, we have to continuously refresh that, so that we can retain our data. Okay, this is the reason why it is known as dynamic RAM. Okay, Similarly, or apart from this disadvantage, the main advantage of DRAM is its comparatively small size. Okay, that make it less expensive and very popular also. Okay, and now let's say if you want to store 0 inside the capacitor, then or in this DRAM, then what will you do? You have to simply provide that 0 with the bit line, and if you are connecting 0 with the bit line, in that case what will happen? Whatever charge you have stored in the capacitor, that or retain in the capacitor, you can say, because of any reason, then that will got a path, and that will gradually discharge through your transistor, and ultimately you will got a 0 or 0 charge stored in the capacitor, and that is how you can store 0 inside this DRAM. Okay, now let's talk about read operation of this DRAM. For read operation, as you can see, I have taken two different DRAMs. So uh, just to show you how we can read 0 and 1 together. Okay, so for understanding this, here I have made few more, I have shown you additional circuitry which is already available there, but that was not shown to you because in the previous diagram. But now here we have use of the sense amplifier, that is why I am showing this to you. And in order to better understand how these sense amplifier are connected in the circuit, let's have a look on this image. What this image is showing to you, in actual practice, there are millions and billions of these kind of transistors. Okay, not transistors, specifically DRAMs, and connected in this way. Okay, because one DRAM is storing one bit of information, and actually we need a RAM of at least like 2 GB, 3 GB, 6 GB. So you can imagine how many these kind of small circuitry we need in order to get a significant purpose, solve a significant purpose using DRAMs. Okay, so this is the arrangement by which your DRAMs are arranged in a circuitry. Okay, or in a RAM. So here you can see that with the help of these bit lines, we have divided that entire mesh of DRAMs. Okay, what is the purpose of doing that? By doing that, we can have like better control, and that will help you in reading and writing operation as well. Okay, this arrangement of sense amplifier, let's say how it will help you. So you can say that if the structure what we have, what we are discussing, it is lying somewhere here. See, it is a part, very small part of this entire circuit, but just for the sake of simplicity and understanding, we are going with that only. There is one more, after seeing that, what we can say that we can extend, having understood the arrangement of the bit lines, now we can extend the bit lines little further, considering they are connected with other DRAMs, and those are placed at different memory location. Okay, what I mean to say, like here if you are seeing at this sense amplifier, then the sense amplifier are connected, end of the sense amplifier is connected with these DRAMs, and the other end of these sense amplifier is also connected with the DRAMs, and this DRAM is placed at any particular address, and the other DRAM is placed at any particular address. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to extend these bit lines. See, I have extended this bits line, and I'm considering that they are connected with other DRAMs. Those are placed at any different address. Okay, now let's see how this read operation will perform. For that, I have first enabled the word line. How this is enabled? When this particular row of DRAMs is selected by the address decoder, then this will be enabled, and if it is enabled, the same scenario will prevails, like both the NMOS will be turned on, and a connection will be established between bit line and the capacitor. Okay, now what would be the Okay, yeah, there is another important thing, that in this case we have pre-charged the bit lines, and these bit lines are charged to the half voltage of the overall voltage of the system. Okay, so let's say we have charged them to 2.5 volt. Okay, so they will be represented as charged, and the potential across the it is 2.5. Okay, mean here I have represented 2.5 for this above DRAM, and 2.5 for the DRAM which is connected below to this bit line. Okay, now let's say this capacitor which is already charged, and it is charged to a higher value. So if it is charged to a higher value, in that case what will happen when bit line is connected with this, and the transistor is already on, so this capacitor will start discharging. Okay, that now if the capacitor is charged up, the charge will move from capacitor to the bit line, that will increase the potential at bit line a little bit. Okay, let's say by an amount of delta. Are you understanding? Like now the capacitor is at higher potential, and bit line is is at comparatively lower potential, and there is a connection between this capacitor and bit line, because this transistor is on, and as I have told you in the beginning, when it is on, then it will simply pass whatever information we have between source and drain, or drain to source. Okay, so this will happen here also. See, your capacitor has discharged slightly, and that charge has appeared at the bit line. So by doing that, what will happen, your bit line will, the potential across the bit line will increase by a small amount. Okay, if this small increment in the value of bit line will be sensed by the sense amplifier. Okay, and that will produce an output, and that output will be produced based on the logic I have told to you earlier also, and here also I have written that if V plus is greater than V minus, then the output of this sense amplifier will be 1, and if V plus is less than V minus, then the output will be 0. Okay, so it is nothing but, in the sense amplifier, what we have inside the sense amplifier, we have your comparator, if you remember. Okay, that op amp designed to work as a comparator, and if the potential applied at the positive terminal of the op amp is greater than the negative terminal, then its output will be 1, otherwise the output will be 0. I have not shown here op amp because in this box we have certain other things like latches also to store the information. That is why I have not shown it with the op amp. Otherwise you may consider it as a op amp, simple op amp only. Okay, now what else? So you can suggest the output of this sense amplifier. In this case, V plus is greater than V minus, so the output of this sense amplifier will be 1. Okay, and what was the content of DRAM? The content of DRAM was 1, and that is how we have read the 1. Okay, now let's see what next. In this case, in the case of this DRAM, the capacitor is at 0th potential. Okay, if the capacitor is at 0 potential, and still it is also, this capacitor is also connected with the bit line, and bit line is charged to 2.5 volt, and the capacitor is empty. In that case, what will happen? Charge will flow from bit line to the capacitor, and capacitor will charge little bit. Okay, so this is how it will happen. See, your charge has started flowing from bit line to the capacitor, and your capacitor has, the charge of the capacitor has increased a little bit. Okay, this will decrease the potential across the bit line. Okay, if, and let's say it has decreased by the same amount or a little bit, in that case what will happen, I have to write 2.5 minus del. Okay, 2.5 volt minus del volt. So what has happened in this case? In this case, the potential of bit line has decreased. Okay, again this will be sensed by the sense amplifier, and that sense amplifier will issue the produce the output according to the same logic I have told to you. And in this case, V minus is greater than V plus, that is why your output will be 0. And what we have stored in the case, in the capacitor, we have stored 0 in the capacitor. That is how we have read the 0. Okay, so this is the read operation of this DRAM. There is one more important thing. If you have observed that in this case also, see, here also the capacitor was initially charged, fully charged. Okay, and after this read operation, the potential across this capacitor has reduced. Okay, and in this case your capacitor was totally empty, but after this read operation the charge has increased. Okay, so what is happening here, mean after one read operation the content of your DRAM or capacitor is changing. Okay, this is why this is known as a destructive read operation. Okay, these read operations are destructive. And how will we cope up with them? But just by continually refreshing. Okay, that I have already told you that we have to periodically refresh them in order to maintain the data, so that will help us in retaining the data in this way also. Okay, so that's all for the day. In the next lecture we'll be talking about some other important things. That's all for the day. Thank you very much.